How to analyze real estate property, real estate investing 101. So recently I looked at a property for a potential deal. It was a duplex. And later down this video, I'm going to tell you all whether I went under contract on this property and if I actually ended up buying this property. I'm going to bring you all actually to the property and show you all the different things I look at a property to see if it needs too much repairs or too much updates. And also I'm going to share with you all my rental property calculator just to make sure the numbers look good and I'm actually going to make money on this property. So if you ever been interested in learning, okay, hey, I got this property, they're getting this much for rent, is this a good deal? This is the video for you. So please be sure to comment down below, like this video and subscribe. All right, so this is an example of a rental property. This is like the spreadsheet that I use. Honestly, I think I found this online. You can just type in this online. But maybe I actually paid for this, but there are different ones that you can find online, and there's cheap ones too that are already pre-populated for you. So you don't have to create everything, you just got to plug and play. So, for example, there's this particular duplex that I actually looked at over the past few weeks, and it was actually off market. So the thing with this property is that I submitted an offer on one of their other properties, but it just didn't work out, and then they sent me this one before they put it on the market. And so originally they say, "Oh, we're going to list it at 260, but we'll give it to you right now for 242." And so I was like, okay, cool. So I just saw pictures online and it looked good because, you know, they had it up for rental. It was a duplex property, and one of the sides was already rented, but the other side, the pictures were up and it looked clean, it looked good. And you'll see in the video later of me actually bring you all on the property how it looks. And so I just went under contract without even looking at the property. So I know I was going to save that for later, but yeah, I actually went under contract before actually seeing the property, before inspection, before any other thing. So they were getting $1,200 per month for one side. The other side, it was not rented, but they were listing it at like $1,400. But I wasn't too sure if they're going to get that, so I just based my numbers off of $1,200. So it's $2,400 total for market rent. So it hits close to that 1% rule. And in this market, it's really great to hit that rule. So the 1% rule is just making sure you can hit 1% of the purchase price per month for this property. So if a house is purchased at $100,000, 1% of that is $1,000. So you want to have at least $1,000 per month of gross rent coming from that property. That's 1%. But in today's market, if you get a little bit lower, let's say for that $100,000 house, it can get 800 or 850. It probably still will work out fine. And then property taxes, this is just based off of what I found online, insurance, and then I set aside money for vacancy and maintenance. So I just put 15%. Some people go higher, some people stay lower, but to be more conservative, probably should be closer to 20%, but I just put 15%. I estimated $7,600 for closing costs. It may be a little bit more. Interest rate, I just put 7.2. It might be a little bit higher, just depending on the day. And then a 25% down payment off of this 242. So that's a good amount of money. If we can do it right here, so if you just do that times that, so that's that amount. And then you have this amount too on top of that. And if you're paying any other fees, title fees, you know, you're probably putting down close to $80,000 on this property. And so it's a good chunk of change for 242. All right, and so gross rent 2,400, property taxes, boom, vacancy, maintenance. So your operating expenses is $615, and so your monthly net operating income is that amount. And that gives you a cap rate of 8.85. Now, to include the mortgage, this is what you look at. This is what really matters. And so your monthly net is $553 essentially. And so you got an annualized net of this amount and annualized RI of 9.74, which is really good for rental property. And cap rate of 8%, 8.8, almost close to 9% in today's market is actually really good. And so this is essentially the calculator. And then they have other things where they talk about the depreciation, you know, the total return after so many years, and the annualized appreciation. Like, let's say it grows 3.5% a year, which is understandable, especially in today's market. You know, in 5 years, this house would be worth 287, and I got it at 242. So making over 40 grand in 5 years is pretty good. And plus, they're paying off your mortgage. And then market rent usually goes up by 3.5% per year. So in about 10 years, I'll be getting $3,200 a month. So this increases that 1% rule, right? Because over time, rents go up and your property goes up, the value of your property. So on paper, these numbers look good because I'm still profiting over $250 per unit because it's a duplex. Even if it was a single family, this is really good. And then my cap rate, you want to, like, in a decent area, maybe not in big areas, you don't care for 8, maybe you're looking for 4 or 5% and you'll be happy. But in the area that I'm looking at, it's in the south, 8.8 is fine. It's actually pretty good. Now let's go over to the property and I'll show you all exactly what I'm looking at. First thing is just looking inside. We'll go outside. I look at the floor, beautiful hardwood floors. Yes, it's a little bit rough, but it's still in decent condition. And this is a 1960s home. So some of the things I look at or feel is like if there's any like slopes or like the foundation seems like there's a big dip in the floor. And there's a slight dip like right here. That's why you see kind of separation right here with the slats. But this is typical for older homes, and it has a crawl space that I can get under if I need to do any more repairs, but it's nothing of a big concern for an older home like this. Now they did freshly paint it because they have this listing, this unit open for listing to get a rent out. I like that they have some recessed lighting, but one thing that I noticed coming from the front door is that it's pretty short. So like these walls, I don't know if you can kind of view it on camera, but it's not your standard 96 inches, 8 feet high. It's probably 7 feet. So I would say it's 84 inches high. And so it's not a deal breaker, but I wish it was like more of that standard 8 feet. And then I just go around, I look at different things. I noticed they have a small attic space right here. The water heater looks like it's in really good condition. That's the electrical panel. And I don't go that in depth because I'm going to have a full inspection done by a professional. But other things with this house is, you see these cracks right here. And so that's something that you have to look at, but this is like a concrete home. So, I mean, as long as nothing is like debilitating, you should be good. The kitchen looks like it's been updated. They recently painted. They actually have a storage back there too. So that's a good thing to look at. And appliances are updated. And yeah, and so I go, they have a HVAC system. This is one of the bedrooms, so this is 2 bed, 1 bath on each side. As you can see, they have the HVAC system in one of the closets because this is an older home and it probably didn't come with one. But one thing that I noticed right here, you see this? This is obviously a crack in the wall that they are patching up. And it goes all the way down, but it doesn't go all the way down to the floor. And, usually that's signs of foundation issues. But when I step right here, I don't really see any fill any dip, but there may be something there. But look how big this thing is. Like, this is concrete and maybe cinder blocks and stuff like that, or maybe even some plaster in there. But that's just something you have to think about, like seeing more cracks or things like that on a property, like if there's serious foundation issues. I'm seeing cracks again right here in the closet. This is to go to the ceiling, but I feel like this can be repaired because this is not concrete. It's just like plaster or drywall actually. But it's not a huge concern to me. This is the other bedroom, so I look for the same thing. If I see any lines in the walls or anything like that, I mean, there's slightly something here, but it's not a big deal. There's some moisture right here in the ceiling, so that's something I have to look at for sure. Just kind of feel it dipping right there in the ceiling of one of the bedrooms. And then again right here, you see that right there. And so this is proof that they had a leak in the roof or some moisture issue there. And then yeah, just look again, closet. This closet is a little bit better. No serious cracks here. There's a slight one right there. The doors are closing fine, like it's not leaning or anything. Here's another closet. The bathroom is in good condition. You know, towel, ceramic tub. Everything seems to be working fine. You know, it is a solid property, and this area is a good area. And this is where the laundry would go, which is interesting. I'm going in the kitchen, and I'm thinking you can fit a washer here. I'm hoping, but I think I'm good with that. And then other than that, I just look at the backyard. So this is a shed, so you see the roof. It's in decent condition. I have people cleaning up the backyard right now. But one thing that I need to look at more is just like that moisture. If there's any other of that moisture evidence in the ceiling. So in the living room, I don't really see any. So they repainted this patio deck. And this is the exterior facade. So it's this is not common, but it's like this brick texture, the roof, and that's the other side. So this is one of the units. All right, so here looking at the roof, it looks like it's in good condition. Look like the shingles recently been replaced, and so I don't need to put that into the budget. The back deck looks great, in good condition. It didn't shake or anything, looked fairly new. One thing of concern is just the ceiling height inside and even outside. You see right here, and I'm showing you all how low it is. Like I'm 5'10", and so this is probably only about even less than 7 feet, honestly. And so that just creates areas of concern with home values and appraisal. And so we can see the difference even inside. I'm showing myself right here, just showing the height difference. Like I'm not even fully extended and I'm able to touch the ceiling. So that is a concern for me with home value and selling the house later down the road. All right, you all saw the property and you saw that big issue that kind of just didn't sit well with me. I didn't notice from the pictures. I should have noticed, and now I'm just more keen on looking at that, the 7-foot ceilings. And the thing is, the other side is rented, so for a group of audience, that's not a huge issue. But I know just looking down the road and like plugging in the numbers that you saw in the calculator, thinking about appreciation, I know that's going to affect its value later down the road, or maybe it won't. You know, maybe people are just looking for a place to stay. It's near a good school. It's a nice, quiet street, you know, and it's a decent area. But that just really got to me, and just something told me not to go forward with it. If it was 8-foot ceilings, of course, I would have been all over that property. But because of that, I didn't go forward with it, and it was just my fault because I should have looked at the property before going under contract. But I still went through the process. I still got a full inspection, and that cost me $500. And so, even though I kind of knew in my heart I wasn't going to go forward with it, but because this was the second property I was working with the seller, I think they got annoyed by me because the first property, it didn't work out because I kind of left that one. And I regretted that decision. I should have went with that first property. It was a great property, great size, 8-foot ceilings, great area, updated, rented, close to that 1% rule. Yeah, it was just it just didn't work out for me. So this property, I still went with the inspection. The inspection actually went pretty well. The inspector said, "Hey, this is probably one of the best duplexes I've seen in a while." So, it was looking good. It was fine and everything. And so, but I decided not to go with it, and so I canceled out of the contract because of the 7 foot ceilings. And that's the only thing. The area, the property, the age, the condition, all of that was fine. But and I talked to other investors, and they were saying, no, it's fine, you can do it. But maybe I'm just being naive, or I'm still in my beginning stages of trying to accumulate more properties. But I want that appreciation to the fullest also. And yes, I could just cash float it, but I want both sides. And I'm glad that I'm in an area where you can get both sides of the cash flow and the appreciation. Um, and so we'll see what happens next. But I decided to cancel out of the deal. But it was a great property, and so they did list the property for actually 260,000, 259. So because when we were going back and forth, they were saying, "Hey, are you sure you want to cancel this? We're giving this to you for 242, and we're going to list it at 259." And they did list it at 259, and it did go under contract in a few days. So to me, that proved to me it was a good deal, and a lot of investors probably saw its value where I didn't. But you have to stick to your own morals, your own values, and your own buying criteria. And so that's another thing on analyzing rental properties is, does it fit your buying criteria? Don't try to rush into a deal. Even though deals are probably harder to find these days, you just have to know your buying criteria and try to stick with it. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later.